Welcome to Katalyst Surgical. Thank you for coming today. I really appreciate you all being here. I wish I had a chance to meet all of you. Maybe I will later on. But this is a big day for Katalyst Surgical. My name is Gregg Scheller. I get to be the CEO of this fine staff of people back here. And I wanted to introduce you first to Katalyst Surgical. We are an innovative developer of equipment and instruments for ophthalmic surgery. Katalyst is actually my third startup company. My first one was located in this building when it was new in 1986. And I grew that company to $4 million, created 40 jobs. In the 4 years that I owned that company, I sold it to a group of local investors at that time. In 1992, I started my second company in my garage in Chesterfield. That company went a little better. With the strength of $6 million in angel investment capital that Bill Bates here, my finance guy, helped me raise. We took my second company to $55 million in annual revenues, created 400 jobs here in Missouri. About 75% of those jobs were manufacturing jobs. So Katalyst represents my third startup company, and 6 months ago we began in earnest trying to raise capital for our first round of investment here in Katalyst Surgical. I had some difficulty doing that, and I was a little surprised that I had that difficulty. I put together what I thought was a strong business plan. I went out and presented it to angel investors, and in this environment, which I would call a hostile capital raising environment, I had some problems. And I figuratively had investors ready to write, sign their name on a check, but I couldn't get them over the finish line. One of the great things and sort of fortuitous things that happened to us was I became aware of a program called the Bioscience Industrial Expansion Program that was presented to us by the Missouri Technology Corporation, which Jason Hall here runs. I am fortunate to have discovered the program. We filled out an application. We went through a screening process. I understand that Jason's office was inundated with these applications because I talked to Bill Anderson frequently during that time period, and the response was far more than they had anticipated. So they were working nights and weekends trying to get through these applications. Finally, we made it through the application process and got selected for an interview in front of the investment committee, or the investment arm of MTC. We successfully navigated that, and the afternoon of the day that we had the interview, we were notified by Bill Anderson of MTC that we had been selected to be recommended for a $500,000 loan from the Missouri Technology Corporation. Almost immediately that word went out to my potential investors, and it was literally a tipping point for us being able to get funding through our first round of funding for Katalyst Surgical. It was not just the $500,000 loan, which represented a significant portion of the equity that we were trying to raise, but it was also the process of being reviewed by the Missouri Technology Corporation that helped legitimize our appeal to these private investors that Katalyst was a real company and it might be worth investing in. So the state's involvement in this has been key to us raising our capital for the first round of what we plan to do here. So at my last company, I think I mentioned we did $55 million in annual revenues, but we also created 400 jobs at that last company. And with the state as my partner this time, I hope that we'll actually be able to exceed those numbers. I'm an innovator. I have about 50 patents on medical devices. We are conceptualizing, we are designing, and we are manufacturing jobs, or we're manufacturing product here. The governor just met some of our fledgling manufacturing positions that we have here, and so I won't delay this any longer. But but before I do, before I turn this over, I want to thank the governor for his support of small business and these entrepreneurial support efforts that he's put in place. Both Jason Hall and Bill Anderson have been great to work with and should be congratulated, and I hope supported for the efforts that they've put in here. And so without further delay, I'm sure the governor is anxious to talk to you about these entrepreneurial support programs that he's put in place. They come in many forms, not just this form, but so without further delay, I'd like to introduce you to the governor of the great state of Missouri, Governor Nixon.